Yo, everybody, it's your friend, me and Buster Green, and it's officially the day after March 16th, the day the Looney Tunes died, and I'm here with my post-movie report about the day the Earth blew up and what the fuck is going on in the animation industry right now that should have you all a little bit worried and a little bit trying to take some action. Alright, so I've been watching the box office on day the Earth blew up like a hawk. I've tracked the box office charts every day this weekend. A lot of people criticized them moving the release date from February and March because it did create confusion with audiences, but I honestly think Ketchup chose the most strategic week possible to drop this thing on, because it definitely would have been eaten alive by Gundam or Dogman if it had dropped back in February, and they chose a week where literally almost nothing was going on. So yeah, it came in at 6th place this week. It had a weak Thursday. Friday it did okay, and then it did really good Saturday and Sunday. It had a few achievements to earn. It did surpass Dogman instantly, making it the best animated film of the week, and then it got really close and ultimately did overcome Paddington 3, making it then the best kids movie of the week. It did do a lot better on Saturday and Sunday, and it ended the weekend at just about $3 million, completely in line with what the market research predicted, and I'm kind of annoyed it couldn't surpass the bland Captain America 4, which has already been out for 5 weeks now. The top movie this week was Novocaine starring Jack Quaid, which ultimately only had a final gross of about $8.5 billion, so really it was a pretty close weekend. Like, the day the Earth blew up got halfway up the ladder in the fight, and it honestly could have won if just more people had come in there. Unfortunately, it's still a drop in the bucket when you compare what the movie cost to make versus its box office haul, so if you didn't see this movie, you gotta go. The industry and multiple people's jobs are counting on this thing not flopping, because literally this is like a pivot point in like animation history where like everything is about to change, and if this movie fails, it's going to change in a bad way. Alright, so let me talk about my experience seeing the movie. I saw this movie in an empty theater on Friday, which is ominous because when I walked into the theater, like, the ticket lady asked me, "Oh, what are you gonna see?" And I was like, "I'm seeing Looney Tunes." And she's like, "There's a Looney Tunes movie coming out?" Like, despite literally working in the movie theater, this was like their first time hearing about it. And also, I saw it in New York City, where the theaters are usually pretty packed, and the only people in there were like 4 people. It was me, this mom, and this kid eating gummy bears, and this strange old man who seemed to think he was a Bugs Bunny and talked exactly like Bugs Bunny and was wearing a gray suit. Anyway, yeah, the theater looked pretty bad because I was in the same theater when Dogman came out, and it was like packed with like jackasses and kids and like just like everybody, and here we are, day the Looney Tunes came out, and it's 4 people. Now, speaking of Dogman real fast, DreamWorks abandoned the copyright for Dogman this week, which is very ominous if you were hoping for any kind of a Dogman sequel. It's been argued that it was dropped because the copyright was too similar to the existing copyright for the Dogman books owned by the author Dav Pilkey, but more than likely the fact it died without a fight means that DreamWorks no longer gives a shit about Dogman, even though the film had an overall box office of $120 million, more than double its $60 million budget. But yeah, so it wasn't just me having this like, where is everybody experience in the theater for Day the Earth Blew Up. All over Twitter, elite hardcore animation nerds were walking into the same empty theater on Friday, and we all had this kind of dismayed, shocked reaction that I guess there's not actually that many of us left, and overall, not having any commercials for this movie really fucked the Looney Tunes over in a more devastating way than possible, especially as TV is less relevant these days than ever. But yeah, this movie had no advertising budget, so it's completely reliant on word of mouth and people actually giving a shit. Alright, at this point, I guess I'll give you guys my spoiler-free review of Day the Earth Blew Up. I'm keeping it spoiler-free because I really want you guys to go, but yeah, this movie is fucking amazing. It's Looney Tunes in widescreen. It did that Batman the Animated Series thing where it looks like the 30s and the 50s, but they randomly still have computers. Porky was classic Porky Pig. Daffy Duck really kind of shocked me. In a surprising twist, it wasn't asshole Daffy. I've been so used to seeing asshole Daffy for the past 30 years that I wasn't expecting Daffy to devolve. Asshole Daffy has been like omnipresent in like media since Space Jam, but holy shit, it was the classic 1930s batshit insane Daffy with like the hammer and the woohoo and everything. And for the record, I think the last appearance of batshit insane Daffy Duck I can remember was his cameo in Who Framed Roger Rabbit 36 years ago. But yeah, that took me by complete surprise. Like, there's a major reason that they've been only using asshole Daffy lately is because when you put Daffy and Bugs in a room together, Daffy instantly turns into the bad guy. But this is a Porky Daffy jam, so it's in line with a lot of the old classic cartoons where Daffy is just an impediment to Porky's life and they won't quit on each other, so they suffer together. What's kind of funny here and what's kind of hilarious though is that this movie has more plot twists than I've ever seen in a movie before. It's actually so genius and funny that it has so many plot twists that you forget about them over the course of the film because they keep dropping new ones. Like, for example, like say they start off with plot twist A, and then plot twist A is still in effect, but by the time plot twist A comes back, you've already moved on to plot twist F. So then when plot twist A does come back with a vengeance, you're like, oh, holy fuck, I completely forgot about plot twist A. I was honestly so impressed because I've never seen a movie do that before. I want to say this movie like actually harnessed the like attention deficit quality of those old Looney Tunes, but like sharpened it cinematically like a fucking battle axe. Also, I was pleasantly surprised by Petunia Pig. She's probably most developed than she's ever been in history. I know they brought her back in like one episode of the 2020 Looney Tunes reboot, but that was like a new age take on her original 30s rendition. And in this film, she's actually a lot better defined. It's like an honestly charming take. It's probably one of the best female protagonists I've seen in a movie in a minute. They also make a point to make her kind of only attractive to Porky and to show that to everyone else she's a nerd and a hot mess and nobody likes her. The last thing is the movie honestly really pushes the limit with like every gimmick the Looney Tunes have ever had. It uses musicals, it uses German expressionism, and this movie is a complete miracle because it like literally does the opposite of like every contemporary pop movie in like the past like 30 years. Like there's no trashy music, there's no like stupid celebrity cameos. I was actually thinking that there'd be like some deep cameos from like left field obscure Looney Tunes. That was one of the things I really appreciated about Space Jam, but no, they completely kept it to just Porky, Daffy, Petunia, and then like a couple of original characters. But yeah, like the more I think about it, this movie is actually so much better than Space Jam. It really is the definitive Looney Tunes movie that people have always been begging for. And I think retroactively, both Space Jam and Space Jam: A New Legacy weren't movies about the Looney Tunes. They were movies about Michael Jordan, and the Looney Tunes were both nerfed and sidelined to promote Michael Jordan and tell a story about like what a good basketball player he is. So yeah, that's my non-spoiler review of Day the Earth Blew Up. You guys gotta see it. It's literally the movie that animation nerds and purists have been begging for 40 years, and it's finally here. And unfortunately, it's arrived just as WB is taking aggressive offensive action to kill the Looney Tunes and all cartoons in general. Now, I want to hope this movie continues on to the next week. If it doesn't, Thursday will be your last chance to see it. But I do think it has a good chance of surviving into the next week. Next week, there's a pretty weak lineup of movies coming out. There's only about 5 new films, including the awful Snow White remake. I don't like what this movie's doing, but I can predict it winning maybe on a curiosity vote. Otherwise, there's this very Robert De Niro movie that is probably my prediction for what will probably be the best movie of next week, just because it's attracting cinema buffs and senior citizens. And then in third place is Jonathan Majors' long-canceled Magazine Dreams, where I don't know what happens. He's naked on the poster. I guess he gets naked or something like that. Anyway, that's being used as a litmus test to see if he's canceled in the public consciousness or not. So yeah, if you want Jonathan Majors to be canceled, don't see this movie, I guess. Okay, actually, breaking news. Michael Ruakoko, the director of Day the Earth Blew Up, just posted on Blue Sky that the film is officially being pulled from theaters on Wednesday night. So yes, if you have not seen this movie in theaters now, you literally have 48 hours to see it, and then it's gone, and yeah, all hope is lost. Things are looking bad. All right, so I was going to end this video here, but unfortunately, as I went to finish it today, new horrible things happened today that made the situation even worse. So literally, WB came out and showing how fucking dumb and how fucking evil they are. They decided to peel the entirety of the Looney Tunes archive off of Max. In December, they deleted about half of it, but this Sunday, they deleted the rest of it. And it's literally not even a day after the day the Earth blew up. So my prediction that this is the weekend the Looney Tunes die is really coming true, and I don't like that. The situation is even worse when you consider the recent 2020 Looney Tunes run, and that a majority of the animators who made that show risked their jobs and some of their personal finances to finish Day the Earth Blew Up as a sign of defiance against Zaslav and WB's leadership, and show that they had confidence in their work and that their work meant something artistically. So I have to ask, did this mean something to you? If it meant something to you, you guys gotta show up. Like, literally, if you dream of working in the animation industry, this is a pivot point where the animation industry might die. In 2023, Warner almost tried to pull all this shit before, but that was like, better times, and there was enough of a backlash online that they ultimately reversed their decision. But this year, the world is in such a state of absolute chaos that no one cares anymore, and they finally got away with it. Now, Deadline looked into the situation, and they pressed Max for a statement, and they got this really bland corporate slop. The original shorts are no longer on Max. This is part of a new plan where the streamer will prioritize adult and family programming. Children's programming, such as Looney Tunes and Sesame Street before it, doesn't fare as well and is no longer viewed as priority. Yeah. So yeah, under David Zaslav, the Looney Tunes are dead. The Cartoon Network is dead, and Sesame Street is technically dead, but I want to think that because Sesame Street has its own independent company and theme parks backing up, I'm cautiously optimistic Sesame Street can bounce back. Hopefully they can leave HBO and go back to being on PBS somehow. I'm not worried about Sesame Street. I am worried about the Looney Tunes and Cartoon Network being buried alive under WB's IP mountain. A few weeks ago, they aired the final season of Jellystone, which I'm still watching my way through. It's been pretty decent, but also they had the big Cartoon Network versus Jellystone crossover, and that crossover literally ended with Mojo Jojo seemingly destroying the Cartoon Network as part of a really dark meta joke that the Cartoon Network is dead, and the animators were borderline crying for help off screen. So yeah, all this situation is just really pissing me off because it's fucked. The Looney Tunes are definitely family entertainment because they've kept so many generations of people happy. And again, in my viewing audience for The Day the Earth Blew Up, the loudest person in the audience was this young kid with his mom who was probably seeing Porky and Daffy for his first time, and he was totally stoked and into it. On my last Looney Tunes Are Dying video, I got a lot of people telling me some pretty wild stuff. I haven't fully responded to all the comments because it went giga viral, and there's a couple of comments that I might actually respond to in full videos. I got some people telling me that since the Looney Tunes are dead, maybe the Animaniacs will come out of the water tower and replace the Looney Tunes as Warner Brothers mascots. But no, that doesn't make sense. First of all, the Animaniacs reboot ended years ago. Second of all, the reboot aired on Hulu. Hulu is a Disney company, and the Animaniacs are technically owned by Steven Spielberg, not Warner Brothers. It's a whole legality situation. And third, even though they're called the Warner Brothers, it doesn't fucking matter because under Zaslav, cartoon properties are all under attack and slowly dying out. We're literally seeing the extinction of penitent kids in our lifetime, and I fucking hate that. Now, thankfully, a majority of the discarded Looney Tunes are slowly starting to wash up on Tubi. Tubi has turned out to pretty much be WB's graveyard, where any of the unprofitable shit they wasted millions of dollars on eventually ends up. But still, this is a bad situation, and it's a situation that keeps getting worse. So to answer your question, who's going to replace the Looney Tunes as WB's mascots now that the Looney Tunes are dead and buried? Well, guess what? It's the fucking Logan Paul, Jake Paul brothers. Those two greasy grifters who punch old people and sell you shit you don't need, like moldy cheese and electrolyte butter. Oh, and don't worry, they're sure to scam you with their latest crypto scam Dink Doink coin. So yeah, I guess that's what Warner Brothers is all about now, propping up those fucking grifters. Anyway, I need to tell you guys, this is a pivotal moment in history. And if you hate the way shit is, this is the 1 week you have a chance to change it. If you don't want this to be reality, if you don't want this to happen, you have 5 days, maybe 10 days tops, to see Day the Earth Blew Up. A lot of theaters are going to pull it on Thursday, and if we're lucky, maybe it gets another week. But this is your one chance to vindicate those animators who risked their careers to give you some classic Daffy Porky action, and this is your one chance to vote with your wallet and say, no, I don't want fucking Logan Paul, I want Bugs Bunny. If not, then for the next 30 years, Max is going to be playing simulcasts of Logan Paul humping dead suicide victims, and I'm not going to be around to tell you I told you so. So that's everything. Do your best. Good luck.